Ready, Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo.
Why, hello, Internet, and welcome. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for a Gaming Gumbo, our weekly gaming wrap-up, whatever the hell we want to talk about, gaming-related show. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, as always. And this is episode 87, closing in on 100, gentlemen, closing in on 100. 87. If you're watching live on Twitch, we thank you so much. Get ready to chime in with your thoughts as we go along. If you're watching YouTube, listening on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, any of those places, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, turn on notifications. Most of all, comment, let us know. And if you like what we do here, tell a friend. Come join us live sometime. You can hit up readycheckradio.com there. All the socials are a nice one easy place in the upper right-hand corner for you. We got a lot to talk about, a couple game-related things, and then we were going to do something different last week, and then Troy went ahead and just didn't have electricity. Like
all weekend.
Just didn't have electricity. So one of the things we had planned last week really wouldn't have worked if we had just like, Yod, are you free? Can you jump in? Like, nah, would have put Yod in a bit of an awkward spot with about 40 minutes to go till showtime. So no show last week. And in fact, just a programming note, no show next week either on the Gaming Gumbo front. There will be Relic Grind next week. There won't be Gaming Gumbo. It's Final Fantasy TCG pre-release weekend. Tough Nuggets. I'll be in Erie with Torchwick. So joining me today to go over all kinds of fun stuff, Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, sir?
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? You're
doing
looking
well.
less orange. Goose Duck put out a new reveal trailer. It's been a busy week for you.
Yeah, it's been absolutely good. I've been wanting to like talk about that trailer for weeks now since we started conceptualizing it, and it's great to have it out there and finally be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah, is there a press release that goes with it? I'd like to cover it Monday morning on MMO Bomb, but it's right now it's just a trailer. So you guys have a release you can send me?
I can talk to people and we'll see what we can get you.
Yeah, hit me up with a release because we're gonna cover the trailer reveal
cool.
on the site on Monday. But if you have additional details on it in a presser, we'd love to include them there.
Sure.
The gentleman not writing it up, it won't be Troy, Mr. Troy Blackburn, the Noob Fridge. What's up, sir?
I'm not good enough for Goose Duck, I guess.
No, see, those are my morning pieces, and you're my afternoon guy. Like that was Troy's condition on taking the job. Was like, are you not going to make me get up early? Are you? And I was like, no, I already have a morning guy. And he was like, all right, I'll take it. All right, I'll take the job. Job. You do have electricity today. That's good.
So
it's bright in here.
It is really
I can
bright.
see things.
Like, you look super bright.
With the name Noob Fridge, how was your fridge doing during the power?
We threw away several $100s worth of groceries. It's going in as part of the insurance claim from the storm damage.
That's always rough.
Yeah, been there. But could be worse. Everybody's safe. You still have home. A little bit of damage, but it'll be repaired and you'll be all good.
Yep.
Hey, there weren't like official show notes for this show because, again, we had an idea planned because it was kind of slow last week news-wise. So we're like, okay, let's take another fun show and let's do this. And Dom, you and I were kind of batting ideas back and forth. Like, look, there's like no news. What do we want to do? And I was like, well, what if we did this? And you were like, well, that could be neat. Yeah. And then we hit Troy up and it was all good. And then Troy's power went out. So we moved it to this week. But we do have a couple things here that I just want to get your kind of gut impressions on. Capcom Spotlight Capcom had their Capcom Spotlight reveal this week, their kind of in-house reveal of stuff, their own digital streaming event. And obviously, Resident Evil 4 Remake was a big part of that. Not just the Resident Evil 4 Remake itself, though, but then they also debuted the trailer for Resident Evil Death Island, the new CGI movie, set to come out this summer. Peeped Jill Valentine in that trailer, so that's going to be kind of neat. I I'm a sucker for like Resident Evil movies, like not just the Milla Jovovich ones, but like the CGI ones. None
The
of
CGI
them.
ones I think are better than the movies. I'm sorry, but they
I
are.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But none of them are terribly great.
That
But
is
I'm a
also
sucker
true.
for. I was even a sucker for the Resident Evil Netflix series, and I know like everybody and their mother hated that. I kind of took the attitude of if this didn't have the name Resident Evil on it,
Yeah.
this would have done pretty well.
Yep.
And so I'm going to pretend it doesn't have the name Resident Evil on it and just try and watch it for what it is. And I enjoyed it. Again, I go back, Resident Evil 4, they showed off a little more of it, and we're only a couple weeks away from that. Actually, wow. Yeah, the 24th. So we're 13 days away from that debuting. And I still look at it and go, man, I was totally wrong, Troy. That thing did need a remake because this is amazing looking. And you not being a console guy, getting to try this on the PC, that's got to be pretty exciting, right? Like, are you looking forward to this at all? Not being a huge Resident Evil guy just because you're not a huge console guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. I think it'll look fantastic on PC. Interested in checking it out for sure.
Did you check out the demo? That did drop right after Capcom Spotlight. It's available on all platforms right now. Have you checked it out? The chainsaw demo?
No, I haven't gotten around to that yet.
Oh, it's good. So you get to play like the early part of Resident Evil 4, so there's not really going to be too many surprises for Dom, you or I, since we've played Resident Evil before. But it is unlimited. Like, you can play it as much as you want. You can play it as long as you want. You just can't progress beyond a certain point. And then you can just go explore. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous.
I'm just more interested in what additions, like little subtle changes there are in terms of like the story and the way things are presented. That's what I'm more interested in.
Because they do say that it's not just remastered and improved systems and graphics. They have said multiple times, including in this week's Capcom Spotlight, they said, what's the way they word it? Reimagined storyline. A reimagined storyline. So there are going to be definite changes to this. And we saw some in like the RE, RE2, RE3 remakes, but nothing huge, nothing groundbreaking or violently canon changing. I don't expect to see that in 4 either.
No, I don't think it's going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Right.
It's not going to be like that level of changing things, but no.
Right. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. And then Troy, one you and I discussed on MMO Bomb's Always Online podcast yesterday. That's up on YouTube and on MMO Bomb. You can go check it out. Exoprimal, the insane thousands of dinosaurs running down buildings, looter shooter, live service game with a season pass. One that we've kind of been like, dude, this looks like stupid fun. Let's do it. Get in your mech suit. Go blast some dinosaurs. Gonna have a beta. Open beta next week, and then launching in July on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC. Also on Game Pass, which I think was the saving grace for me because not all of the information that we learned this week was great news for you, Troy, on this one, huh?
No, $60 price tag for what I was thinking was just going to be just a
live
stupid good time
seasonal game.
Yeah, just an over the top, ridiculous fun game for $60. I'm not shelling out $60 for that. Sorry.
Game Pass, baby. Game Pass.
I may have to Game Pass just so I can start Game Passing just so I can get this game.
Yeah, I mean, you pay $15. Let's say you don't have any demo time with them or whatever. You give them $15 for 1 month, and you're like, well, that was worth it. Like, now I know if I want to play this or not. Hell, you could play the game for 4 months and buy the season, and that is the cost of the digital deluxe version. So, by the way, you'll also have the rest of the Game Pass access point, too, for that same dollar amount. It wouldn't just be Exoprimal. So, definitely one of those titles that I think... we've talked, like, does Xbox Game Pass hurt game sales? And there's an argument to be made that when you're a bigger company, probably. When you're a smaller company, it probably leads to more sales, right? Getting more eyeballs on your game, and eventually your game will leave Game Pass and people picking it up.
I kind of look at it like it's a Blockbuster Video.
How so?
Like you're renting games, like you're paying a monthly fee instead of just like an individual fee, but you're just going and just grabbing more games whenever you want.
Do you remember
It's just-
GameFly? Anybody remember GameFly?
Oh my
I do,
God, yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh my. Anyway, yeah, Exoprimal looking good. And then we saw Ghost Trick get a release date. Monster Hunter Rises Sunbreak expansion is coming out in April 28th. And then the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection coming out on April 14th. Honestly, I thought Capcom's show was pretty damn good. Like, there was a little bit across the board. Street Fighter missing, right? But we kind of expected that because they were just part of the last Sony State of Play, and they're probably going to have something big planned for E3.
Dino Crisis.
Since Sony, yeah, that ain't going to be it.
Exoprimal's as close as you're getting, buddy.
Yeah, you want dinosaurs, it's going to be Exoprimal. We are going to try and check out the beta next week. Don't know, it's supposed to launch on Friday for Exoprimal, but we'll see what time the beta actually goes up. It's only an open beta weekend, which is a little weird, right? Like an open beta weekend in March for a game that launches in July. That's kind of weird. Just
Unless
an
they're
open beta weekend.
They're
and that's
actually testing things, God forbid.
right, for a weekend? Like, that's the weird part. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to get 48 hours of testing in 4 months before launch.
Maybe they just want to get an estimate on their server. I don't know.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. If they would have called it like a network test or a server stress test, then I would. But they're billing it as open beta. 2 weeks or 2 days. 2 days. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe that's as long as you need to play the game to realize it's a shell of a game.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, we give them like 4 days. They'll have every mission 400 times. Like, that's no bueno. Also, this past week, we did have some movement on, well, not movement, just maybe bitch slapping back and forth on the Sony-Microsoft fight, particularly in Europe over the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The fun parts, the highlights for you this week that caused Troy to like almost hurt himself rolling his eyes are we finally hear the real reason Sony keeps fighting everything. The reason we all knew Sony was fighting this thing. Now, if you're missing some of this in the EU, the recommendation was that this merger could be detrimental to gaming and consumers in general. That doesn't mean that they were going to shoot it down. It was just their recommendation to the advisory board that was going to make a decision. That advisory board then gave themselves more time to make the decision. They backed their deadline up by like 2 weeks to make the call. And they were trying to say, hey, Microsoft, maybe you should acquiesce on a few things and it would help this deal go down a little better. One of which being divest yourself of Call of Duty. When all of us heard this, we're like, why? Why on earth would you divest yourself of one of the marquee properties from the company you're trying to buy? That's just not going to happen. So Microsoft flew out and schooled some people. They literally were like, look, if you think Sony not having access to Call of Duty is a good reason to block this merger, then why on earth would us not having access to Call of Duty not also be a reason that you need to take in to consideration that the merger should go through? Like, why would you favor them? So no, we don't think we're divesting. We will offer the 10-year deals again. Nintendo and Nvidia Cloud already did sign those 10-year deals, by the way. Sony still balks at it. They even put up other things like, hey, we'll let Sony put Call of Duty on PS Plus on day one, if that's where they want to put it. And so then Sony turned around and was like, well, shit, Dom. What's our argument going to be now? Oh, I know. We're worried that we'll get buggy, inferior versions of Call of Duty. And then Activision employees stepped in on Twitter.
Oh, no.
And they said, CCO, I think it's CCO. I can't remember the title, her name. And she says, back in February in Brussels, Jim Ryan from Sony, he literally said why this is happening the way it's happening and why they haven't taken any of these deals. And she quoted him on Twitter as saying, I'm not interested in a new Call of Duty. I just want to block your merger. Period. End of story. What do you think, Dom? I take it by your reaction you did not know that had happened this week.
I did not. No, I did not. I approve. I approve 110%.
I don't want a new Call of Duty. I just want to block your merger.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a very Dom thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Troy
You
violently.
Sure I didn't write it?
Yeah, Troy violently rolled his eyes because he's been all over Sony even from the beginning when you might have viewed them of, oh, well, okay, I could see them having this complaint initially. But even right then, Troy was having none of it, and he's just definitely not having any of it now.
No, it's gotten utterly just ridiculous the way that they're going about this. And it's been obvious for a while that all they want is to just mess with Microsoft and try to prevent them from acquiring something they want to acquire. And at the end of the day, that it's slowly coming out over time that is the end goal, is just to keep them from acquiring and making an acquisition that would be good for their company.
Isn't Sony in the Kobayashi Maru now though? Like, this is the no-win scenario, right? If the merger goes through, now they've pissed off Activision, or they've pissed off Microsoft, so that I could definitely see some tit for tat. Like, they'll obviously have to respect contracts when it comes to Call of Duty or things like that they've signed. Mm-hmm. But you've kind of made an enemy out of any game coming out of Activision, Blizzard, or King is going to be a nightmare to try and get on PlayStation platforms if you want it there, just because you've pissed Microsoft off by fighting this deal this way. And if you fight it off successfully, which none of us, I don't think, on this panel think will happen, we all eventually think this deal will go through. But if you fight it off successfully, isn't Activision Blizzard just now pissed at you, Dom? Like, you stopped us from being bought?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The whole thing is just absolutely insane. It's just like, following it from the beginning, I was like, when it was first announced, I was like, what? Like, now it's like, okay, some of it makes sense. And then it's like all this bickering and this pettiness. It's like, I'm here for it. I want, give me some popcorn.
And that's all it is at this point. It's just bickering and pettiness. That's
it really is.
Like they've lost all legitimate arguments that they've tried to present, and it's just petty now.
Yeah, like I said, it's like watching your mom and dad fight, right? And it's like, you know, you gotta, if you're Microsoft, you gotta be like, wait a minute, you're seriously fighting us becoming the third biggest gaming company in the world? You're fighting us becoming the third biggest? Come on. Come on. Oh, by the way, you're one of the two that's bigger than us? Really? Stop it. Yeah.
Can we not?
It's interesting. So here's what we're going to do. Last week we had planned, didn't work out. Now we're going to do it. We're going to go through just like some of our collection pieces. Whether they be video gaming related or tangentially gaming related. I know Troy does a lot of board game stuff, so maybe we'll have something board game related. Yeah. And these things may not be like super valuable or anything. Like, I don't think any of us are gonna show off huge collector's pieces that now we have documented on the video or in our house. Please come rob. But kind of like the weirder the better. And I've got a couple that are just like neat and I like and I wanted to bring. But I also have some like weird ones. And I don't know, chat, if you have weird video game collectibles you want to throw in chat, let us know, and we'll bring them to the show. By the way, if you're watching and you have some weird little items that you think are neat in your video game semi-even related, board game related, gaming related collection, come on over to Twitter and put it in the replies to the tweet for this show that goes out tomorrow when it's recorded, and we'll bring them to the next show. Won't be next week. No show next week. Be the following week. So, Dom, let's start with you. What do you got? You got something neat?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a couple things that are just like, you remember this big bulky thing?
Oh my God.
You remember this thing?
That is almost as big as the that's almost as big as the Elder Scrolls Online one back in the day.
So in here, I've actually never opened it in terms of like getting the piece out, but there's a Batman statue in here. This
A
was
Batman statue?
yeah, this was from the PS4 Arkham Knight or Gotham Knight. What does it say on it?
What did I buy?
I don't remember which game it was. No, it was one of the Arkham Knight. Yeah, it was one of the 3 Batman games in that thing. But
Holy shit. That thing is massive.
yeah, it's huge.
You didn't maybe consider unboxing this before the show?
No, I wasn't gonna
No,
even
that would've
actually
been-
unbox it. I wasn't gonna unbox it at all. I decided the last second to do it. Because I've
He's
just
like,
realized
I don't remember
I've
what
never
this
even seen
statue
it.
looks like.
Yeah, I've never even seen it.
exactly. Okay, that
So-
does look badass.
Yeah, it's got batteries, everything to it. So
What's it do? Light up or something?
I think the if I'm not mistaken, the skyscrapers light up below it, and yeah.
Nifty. Nifty.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Troy. What do you got? What do you got
I'll
first?
start out with something board game related.
Oh, yes, I see it.
Original, vintage Hero Quest, baby. The one
Hell
that I've
yeah.
owned since I was a kid.
I still have mine too, and I have the remake.
Yep, got the remake and all the. I got one of the pieces of the remake right here. I've got Mage of the Mirror right here.
Okay, the remake's pieces are better.
Yes,
The pieces
better.
are far better in the remake. Do you still have all the pieces to that? The original one?
Yeah, it's still got all the pieces in it.
Like the cardboard doors?
Yeah, all the cardboard pieces and everything. Yeah,
What-
the new one, it's got like those 3D printed
Mhm.
pieces and stuff, and they're really awesome. They're really heavy and they're really cool. But there's just something about that old vintage one, man. It's the one that we played when I was a kid, and that thing's worth. And the condition mine's in, because it's been played over the years, it's probably worth around $100. Sometimes you can find some worth $200-$300.
That game took Havoc and I an entire summer away from Havoc and I. It was one or two neighbors that we played with basically every day. It was like, all right, time to go to bed. Wake up, grab Hero Quest, go over to their porch, and that's where we were all day. We must have played those hundreds of times.
Dude, it was great, especially if you didn't have like a group of friends who was really like heavily into D&D.
Yeah.
Like I could play this with my brother, and my little sister played Hero Quest with us.
Oh, definitely.
So it was easier to get folks to get involved, but it scratched that itch just enough at the time when I was a kid. It's simple now, but as a kid, it was like, man, I'm on a dungeon crawling, dice rolling adventure. Let's go.
Yeah. And the figures, even some like the big monster figures were good in the original. They're even better in the remake. But then like the subset of extra pieces, the doors and shit like that, they're really nice in the new one.
Here's one of the little cardboard bookshelves. To-
Yep.
Scratch that nostalgia itch in the back of your
You
brain.
fold the cardboard into a box and then push down on the plastic top that held it all together. All right, my first one is
Oh no!
Jesus.
Oh,
this
man.
is an Ouya for those of you that don't know. This was an open source Android console that was, I believe it was on Kickstarter, right? And it got like something like $7 million or whatever because they wanted, everything to be on it that was free to play, and you could have transactions, but you had to abide by certain rules, and it was all open source, and it was confined to this little thing, and it had amazing specs and everything, and so it got funded to like $7 or $8 million, and then it was a massive disappointment when it actually came out. Imagine that. And I'll tell you, the only reason I bought this is probably the only reason a lot of people bought it. It was about $100. I think that, like 100, 110. Came with, this is the whole thing. Power button on the top, some input-output stuff on the back, and that's it. And it came with a controller, which was hot garbage. The controller was legitimately garbage. And yeah, a USB, an HDMI, an Ethernet, and a power adapter socket on the back. the only thing I bought this for was emulation. Legitimately, because you could go to the Android store, grab the emulators, and then because it had, USB accepted some type of flash input, in this case USB, you just, throw all your ROMs on a flash drive, plug them on in there, and away you go on your high definition television, not having to emulate on your computer or anything. And actually, it served its purpose really well. It could do decently up through the PlayStation 1 age, like with no problem. So all of your SNES, NES, Atari, PlayStation 1, Genesis, like it worked fine. It was great. The only drawback with it was only able to support a memory stick up to 256 gigs. So you were capped by like how much you could put on it. And then, fast forward, Raspberry Pi became a thing and the Ouya died.
I was gonna say, is this an ancient Steam Deck?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just not as like this. It was cool, but not really. But not really. What do you got next, Tom?
I got. If you can't tell, I love statue type things. So these are two of my favorite. Well, two. It's one item, but it's from Mortal Kombat 9. It's the collector's edition bookends.
Get the fuck out of here.
I love these things. I love these. I am a huge Mortal Kombat fan, so I bought this collector's edition. This has been sitting on my shelf downstairs, and I kind of forgot about it for a little bit because it's holding a bunch of games that I have in my old office. And when I came up here, moved my office upstairs, I kind of left everything behind down there. So I'm glad that we did this so I can go back and be like, I need these up here. So.
When's the last time you needed bookends for anything?
Well, I use them. I would have like my games between them. Like that's all.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I love the Scorpion.
Going through your books right into Sub-Zero's chest.
And
baby.
Mortal Kombat 9 just happens to be my most favorite Mortal Kombat game. So
you're next, Troy. I like your bookends, man. Those are cool.
Yeah. I'm going to go from something very old to something very new, something I just recently got from Amazon Games. I got a nifty little flask that's got the New World logo on the front of it.
You a New World, dude.
And then they sent they sent 3 stainless steel little ice cubes with the different faction symbols on them. And then this neat little craft cocktail kit that I haven't used yet, but I plan on using maybe tonight after the show. Now that I've dug this back out.
I forgot I had this.
I think this is a big old flask. It's a pretty good sized flask. So I really
was
dig
that
it.
from
It's
like a
wrapped in
press
leather.
event?
Yeah, it was from a press event.
Yeah, so working in press, we often get little trinkets and stuff, and at least on the MMO bomb side, we don't accept gifts of like any real monetary consequence for obvious impartiality reasons and things like that. But they do send little trinkets and bobs like that, sometimes without your permission. Particularly for the holidays, you'll just get it, and so some of them are neat.
One that I wish I really could have found. It's boxed up somewhere, but I'll just talk about it real quick. Just Guild Wars 2 sent a pocket watch one time, and it's not like real gold or nothing, but it's a nice looking heavy duty pocket watch.
Oh, I think that was back in the Game Breaker days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Game Breaker. And I think it was when the big Clockwork boss came out, if I'm remembering correctly. Those two at least correlate in my mind together. I wish I could have found that because that thing was really cool.
So I'm going to stick with those same like weird little things that sometimes they send out for press. And again, they're often little just tchotchkes. Here's a flask type stuff. This one I thought was really, really neat. This is from the Black Desert Online team at Pearl Abyss. And it's a block of wood that has, a hole for hanging this on the wall. But the sheet is actually an art print on metal. And this was for
really
their
cool.
the artwork's amazing. This was for their Eternal Winter expansion, which isn't all that long ago. I think it's like within the last 2 years. And there was even in the box for it, there's a certificate of authenticity because there were apparently 300 of them made.
Oh,
And
wow.
if you're curious, I have number 243. Yeah, Baron, it was in chat when we got it, and we did an unboxing for it on the Always Online podcast. But yeah, I've always thought this is one of like the cooler. I mean, all this is a block of wood with a metal print on it, so it probably cost them $1.50 to make it. You're right, but it's absolutely beautiful. So that's from Pearl Abyss Black Desert, and I've always thought, man, that's a really cool art piece. I've never hung it up though. Never hung it up.
Awesome.
What do you got, Dom?
I mean, can you guess what my next item might be?
Something statue related.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I have this huge Master Chief statue, which you may not be able to see very well. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you got it close enough that the glare is gone now.
Yep.
Yeah. From Halo 3. So this thing's been sitting once again out of sight. Kind of forgot about it.
So as a like a video game statue collector, like, do you open them? Do you open any and have them displayed, or are you more like, if you look up here behind me, all those Final Fantasy expansion boxes are the collector sets that have the big statues in them. The statues are still in those boxes. Like, I don't really display them anywhere.
So
do you?
I keep a lot of them in the boxes. There are some that I will open. I've moved and packed a lot of stuff up and never unpacked it. So I have a lot of stuff that are tucked away in boxes that I couldn't even find. So these are the ones that were like in easier sight for me to get a hold of, but I kind of forgot I had some of these, so it's actually kind of cool us doing this to find them.
I thought so too. Like, I was going through different areas of my house pulling things. I was like, oh, this is neat. I'll bring it. Then I had like 12, and I was like, this is way too fucking many. Like, I got to cut this down to like 6, and whatever. But I was like, oh man, I totally forgot I had this. Like, I found a Mario or a Nintendo sticker album from 1989 that I had collected every 3D sticker. And so it was just one of those like 59-cent sticker albums that you bought the packs and hoped you got ones you needed, right? Yep. And I had every single sticker in it. I was like, that's pretty cool. I forgot I had this.
I was trying to find, I tore up like a lot of boxes and stuff looking through. I was trying to find, I have like the original NES Legend of Zelda like trading cards that you used to get. I think it was the same thing, the sticker book with the 3D glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't find it. I know I have them. They're here somewhere.
But... What do you got, Troy?
Let's see. Let's go with a few pieces of my pop vinyl collection. I don't collect just all pop vinyls. I collect ones that sort of mean something to me. And starting out with the Lich King himself, Mr.
Oh,
Arthas.
He looks badass.
Because when you beat the Lich King in World of Warcraft, you have beat the entire game.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Does the helm come off? No, the helm doesn't come off.
Oh, I just saw the hair hanging out from behind, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's got the hair, but he doesn't have the sword, unfortunately. But I picked this up 1 year during BlizzCon online because, beating the Lich King was a big deal because it was me and just my friends. Like, I wasn't part of a big raiding guild at that point. I'd quit the raiding guild. So it was just me and my friends who went in there and beat Syndragosa, who was our main enemy in that raid. But also beating the Lich King, it was us, it was friends. And it was a fantastic experience. Then we move on to Lord Vivek here.
From ESO.
Yeah, I got him specifically because of ESO, because the Vardenfell, the Morrowind expansion.
Yeah,
that was my favorite story in the ESO.
That's the one where he's losing his power, but
losing his power,
not telling anybody about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I got Mr. Geralt because The Witcher 3 is the best RPG I've ever played in my entire life. It's my favorite RPG ever. And then just because I think it's cool, He-Man on Battle Cat, and Battle Cat is heavy. That sucker is stout, thick vinyl. But He-Man was my childhood. He-Man and Optimus Prime.
Oh, mine too, man.
My childhood heroes.
I was never into Transformers all that much besides, hey, those are cool. But He-Man, that was my shit. That was my shit.
I remember going to my local mall to like see He-Man and Skeletor for like a meet and greet when I was little.
So these, I have about half a dozen or so of these, and if Havoc's in chat, he'll probably remember picking some of them up. And I don't know what the hell to do with them. Like, they're wrapped in protective bubble wrap most of the time and like tucked in a corner. So I don't know what to do with these. Like, I don't know. But I've got like 6, 8 of them or whatever, and they're the actual arcade cabinet vinyl headers from old arcade games. So one of my favorites is the Nintendo Punch-Out one, like the original Nintendo Punch-Out from 1983. But I have other ones that are like Centipede and the Dungeons & Dragons 4-player co-op arcade machine, and there's probably like 6 or 8 of them there. We actually, Havoc and I and the rest of my family would pick them up at anytime we went to Steel City Con here in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
There was a company called Pack Rats this is what they sold. And they're, like I said, they're not like reprints or anything. So you can see that, you're always going to get probably a little bit of damage or a little bit of flaking of the original paint job on the back of the vinyl and stuff. But I just thought they were cool as hell. I kept buying 1 or 2 every year or every 6 months or so that we went. They have that too often now. Steel City Con, it's a big racket now, and I haven't seen Pack Rats at the last 3 or 4, but I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with them. But I always thought they were neat, and so I own them. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dylan.
So this is not a statue, but this. I was digging through the basement. It's in really bad condition because it's been sitting in my basement for a very long time. Anybody from this era of gaming will recognize these things.
Oh my God, we all had those.
Yeah.
Wow.
The little foot lockers, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Has all different designs for Mario on all the sides. Used to store all my gaming stuff in them. And in fact, there's still stuff in it. And you know what?
Do you know what's in it?
I haven't opened it yet. So when you come back to me, we're gonna dig through
see
it.
your
Yeah.
next one is we'll see what's inside.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Troy.
Let's go back to a board game thing that is really cool. This is a Toys R Us exclusive, still in the box. I have the entire set.
So
of
do
the
I.
flag bearers, but this is the only one I have that's still in the box because I actually went to tournaments and stuff and played with mine.
Yeah, we played my kids, and I taught my kids how to play HeroScape. We still have all of the huge sets and the small add-on sets in the garage, and they're fucking worth money, man.
Yes, they are. I sold part of I've got one of the largest collections that I'm aware of in the country. And I sold part of it off to build the computer that I'm on right now. And it was just a small part of it. And I sold it for like a couple $1,000 just for a few things. But this little box right here, I think they were $15 at Toys R Us. This is worth $85 right now.
Holy hell. Yeah, I'll have to look
would
at
you
how
only...
much.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine, go ahead.
I was gonna say, would you just sell your like duplicates or something?
I was we don't really play it anymore, so I was just selling off. I've got so much of it. I do have duplicates of a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
nice.
mean, we had, I don't even remember. I think we got them for Christmas when my brother and Havoc and I were younger, and we got the huge big starter thing that had all of the pieces in it. We each got one of those. We each got the 2 or 3 subsets that were bigger but not as big as so I had 2 and 3 of all of them still sitting in my garage. I'll have to send you a picture. You can let me know if they're worth it.
I've actually got dozens of the
last time we played was when my boys were like 11 and 12. So they're still sitting there. They're all in great shape and all the pieces are there. They're just not new. We have played them.
Yeah, I've got several dozen of the master set.
I'm going to go with this. This is from Squaresoft. Yeah, Squaresoft on PlayStation, the collector's video.
Oh.
Yes, that's a VHS tape right there, friends. That Squaresoft put out to advertise Bushido Blade, Final Fantasy Tactics, which hadn't come out yet, Final Fantasy VII, which had, and Saga Frontier, which was getting ready to come out in spring of 98. It's literally like a 12-minute commercial or so on a VHS tape for released and upcoming Squaresoft products after Final Fantasy VII came out. So I have no idea. Like, I honestly don't even know if the tape is degraded to the point now that it's just unwatchable or not. It's just been on my shelf forever at this point.
Have you ever watched it?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't be open. Like, it would have had the plastic. But I haven't watched it in so long. Like, I couldn't tell you the condition of the actual footage itself. But yeah, there's my Squaresoft VHS advertisement. They mailed me a VHS commercial, and I kept it. I wonder if they're still at the Foster City, California address in any way, shape, or form. Like, do they even just maintain a mailbox there anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm opening this thing. Oh my god. There are a couple really interesting things in here.
Some NES boxed games. Nice.
Yeah.
Chip and Dale's a fantastic game. Star Fox. Oh, that was with the Rumble Pack, wasn't it?
The Rumble Pack.
Yeah.
And this is
couldn't make that technology in the controller. Had to sell it as an add-on at that time.
I save everything for the record.
Oh, like just a stack of the boxes.
These are all the boxes for all the games I owned for N64.
Yeah, so I'm a box guy too, but the N64 boxes in particular, and even the Super Nintendo ones and the NES ones, like everybody and their mother had their Sega Genesis boxes, right? Because they actually protected the game and were plastic. But you know, a lot of these types of boxes are a lot harder for people to get that are looking for them.
Look at that shiny, what was that? Collector's edition.
Those are in great shape, boss.
Yeah, they are. They've been sitting in there. So,
well, put them back. That's your retirement right there, son. Put them back.
So many. I saw GoldenEye in there too.
Go ahead, Troy.
Well, unlike the two of you, I open my statues and I display them. And going back to the Game Breaker days again, Jason Winter and I were covering Neverwinter. And and I wrote some pretty big articles for Game Breaker at the time, some tip guides and stuff like that did really well over the year. And this is Valindra Shadowmantle before she turned into a lich. This is a very heavy statue.
She tall.
Yes, she is tall. Some of her little things have broken off over time, even though now you can't hardly tell because they're all brown and stuff. But
I mean, and based on the height there, like the build, she all leg too. Like she all leg.
She's got legs.
Okay, this one was actually custom made, so this is kind of neat. I like this. Obviously, I play a lot of FFTCG, Final Fantasy trading card game. And so card boxes and sleeves and dice and all that stuff, you know, Troy, you know, having to carry those things to and from and stuff like that. So I contacted Aaron Kane, who makes handmade card boxes. And they're some of the most beautiful and highly functional card boxes around. So if you're like, they're not cheap because they are all handmade. So, but he's got like a bunch of different models, and he'll do batch orders. So it's like, okay, I want that model. I only have 4 orders in for that right now. It'll be 6 months. Okay, fine. So I contacted him to see if he would do a custom thing, and I gave him requirements and size requirements and all of that. But then I also gave him art requirements. And I said, this is what it has to look like, but it can't look exactly like this, or somebody's going to end up getting sued for copyright infringement. And so when I approached him with the idea, he said, I really want to do this. I really, really, really want to do this. But I'm not an artist enough to do the art that we need. He said, I can do all the woodworking, but I'm not an artist enough to do what we need. I have an artist friend, but you're going to have to negotiate with him if you want to use him. So I did, and we got the art. It was sent over to Aaron, and then about 4 months later, my new card box arrived in the mail that holds 100 double-sleeved cards, so it could be a commander deck if you're a Magic the Gathering player, and then side slots for dice. But where the art comes in is the box itself. It's modeled after the puzzle boxes in Hellraiser.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is all etched into the wood. It's not just like a print on the wood. It's all etched into it. So you can see there's a texture all the way around it. And so, yeah, I actually have, you might be able to see it in the background there. No, you can't. It's by the Guy Fawkes mask. I have a prop replica Hellraiser cube signed by Doug Bradley, who played Pinhead in the Hellraiser films. And so I sent 3D pictures of that to the artist, and then he used that to replicate it with some minor modifications. So it's not an exact copy. We're not getting copyright sued or anything. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful. And it's all held together with magnets at the bottom. There we go. So it just slides over the top, and then those magnets lock into place with the magnets on the bottom shell. And it's a snug fit. Obviously, you want it to be so that if it gets jostled around. It was not... Aaron Kane stuff is not cheap. This was way not cheap, but totally freaking worth it. And if you actually go to Aaron Kane's Facebook page... he still has like pinned posts of this is one of the coolest projects I've ever worked on, and it had like all kinds of shots. So it's like, I love this thing. Here's the real bitch of it. Obviously, when I got it, I was so happy with it. I was like, I can never use this. I was like, but what a flex, right? Like you get to the table at the finals and you're like, let's play a game. You know, it's like, I can never use this. So yeah, it's beautiful though. Absolutely beautiful. If you're looking for card box stuff, just Aaron Kane can't be beat. Go ahead, Dom.
I might have 285 issues of a very particular magazine.
Just that one. He has 285 copies of that Nintendo Power.
No, I have so many Nintendo Powers. So not all of them are in the best condition.
Yeah, I have a lot of mine too. They were great, dude.
Yeah, but I do have a lot of other just general magazines from that era as well. I'm sure you are familiar with Tips and Tricks magazine.
Oh, hell yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah. Rival Schools on the cover there. Nice.
Yeah, I had Sonic 3, the game guide.
It's 58 pages of run to the right, asshole.
Yeah. As well as, some favorites like Game Pro.
Oh, yeah. And, Game Pro was great.
Yeah, this one was Final Fantasy X.
I have that one, too. I don't have the first one you've shown, but I do have that Final Fantasy X Game Pro.
Luigi's Mansion. I got so many. So many. So.
Did you subscribe to like all of them, or were you a newsstand guy?
I
hit up Barnes and Noble or something.
Subscribe to most of them. So this one has my old address on it.
Oh, cool! Show us.
Yeah. I'll put it right on the screen. So, but if I'm not mistaken, I think this came with an issue of Nintendo Power.
Oh, yes, it did. That's the controller cover.
It is for Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
C4, yeah. So,
because that's not phallic at all. Hold on to these 3 bananas. What do you got, Troy?
The last one I've got is...
I have 2, but I could do them both at the same time. They're small.
Yeah, this is the last one I've got. It's a big boy. It's a BioShock Infinite Songbird Collector's Edition statue.
Oh, get that closer to the screen. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's really cool.
That is awesome. What did that came with the collector's edition?
Yeah, it came with collector's edition. You could get both the PlayStation and the Xbox collector's edition of it.
Dude, that is sweet. It's fucking terrifying too.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific looking. But yeah, this is my big boy that sits up on the top shelf up there, and it's got a
Oh, no,
pretty
you
good.
gotta-
As you can see, I've got a big head, and he covers me.
You got to put that somewhere where light's shining behind him and scare the hell out of Mrs. Noob Fridge when she walks through at night and there's just this shadow of a winged being. It'd be
But yeah, once
amazing.
again, I unbox my statues and display them, so I'm different than you guys.
So there's some that I'm like, if I get and they're sealed, I wanted them that way. Obviously, like collector sets like this, or I have the big Elder Scrolls Online one, and I have a bunch of them laying around. Like they're already opened because I had to open them to get the fucking software out or the codes out to actually register it. So it's not like it's a whole, oh, I want to leave this sealed thing because they already are not sealed. My thing is like, I don't want to fucking dust them. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what a pain in the ass it is to dust these things?
I have
Most
a
of the
shelf.
stuff I pulled out, I dusted before right before the show.
I have a shelf over there that's got amiibos on it, and I don't know, like 2 months ago, I was like, oh, I haven't dusted the shelf in like 6 months, and I was like, oh my god, it's like dusting every single little one off. I was like, this is why I leave stuff in the box.
Yeah. What do you got, Dom? Oh no, it's my turn, I guess.
It's your turn.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry about that. So I got this, and I have a bunch of these, but these were ones that Torchwick and other members of the family got me for Christmas a couple years back, and these are the Volume 3 Minion figures from Final Fantasy XIV. So these are actually not the characters in the game, but they're figures of the minions that you collect in the game, and obviously I'm a huge minion collector. So here is Titan. He's so cute. He's so
Nice.
damn cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It says in chat, does Dom have nothing but Nintendo stuff? I had a Batman statue, a Mortal Kombat, Master Chief. I showed off some non-Nintendo stuff. So this one's kind of newer. I'm very proud of this one though. Haven't had a chance to try it out yet, but I got this.
It's still freaking sealed. So dumb.
I just saw it was on sale for Mario 10 Day yesterday.
You could have saved money, brother.
I could.
Troy, you're done, right?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, so I'll just go to my last one here. We all know Topps cards, right? This isn't technically gaming related, but I was always a huge Garbage Pail Kids guy growing up. Love the Garbage Pail Kids cards. And in fact, my desk calendar right now is Garbage Pail Kids. That's how I know today is Worship Tools Day, according to my Garbage Pail Kids calendar from my son. But this was a special edition Garbage Pail Kids thing that you had to order directly from them. And it's just a few cards. But knowing anybody that knows me, these are based off of horror movie icons. So there's Helen Razor with a little pinhead there. And then there's same character, because if you know Garbage Pail Kids, they had multiple names for the same thing. So there's Cindy Bite instead of Cenobite from Hellraiser. Corpsey Cora. There she is, Bridal Brianna. Aging Ash. Hell yeah, baby. Hail to the king, baby. Hail to the king. Oh, I don't think I have Troy. You're going to like this too. My oldest son for my birthday, I don't think I ever said this on the show, surprised me with tickets to see Bruceapalooza. It's a Bruce Campbell event in April in Pittsburgh where he hosts watching a movie and a whole trivia contest and everything. So yeah, I'm going to Bruceapalooza in April.
Bruceapalooza.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So there's Aging Ash and Evil Ned, Crafty Chrissy, Nefarious Nancy, Insidious Isaac, and Demonic Dominic, and then a black and white version of Evil Ned. So these were like little special sets that you could only order directly from Topps. And Every time they do a horror movie one, I'm like, yeah, I gotta go ahead and order that.
I'm actually friends with Joe Simcoe on Facebook.
Are you really?
Yeah, who does a lot of the
Yeah.
kids art. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Good stuff, gang. If you have weird gaming related or even not gaming related stuff you want to show off, please let us know. Throw it in a comment, throw it in a reply on Twitter. That'll probably be the best because I'd like to grab your pictures if you can send them there, and we'll bring them to the next show. Remember, no Gaming Gumbo next Saturday. It's Final Fantasy TCG pre-release weekend. Torchwick and I will be at events. We will be back the following weekend, and Relic Grind will be next week as normal. On that note, let's go do the week is the way we finish up every episode here of Gaming Gumbo. It's where all three of us are going to make a recommendation. It could be a video game, board game, card game, mobile game, whatever. Something we've played, playing now, played in the past, never played before, but think you should. And you let us know in the comments who gave the best recommendation. Troy, you're up first.
I'll go with a game that I featured on the show today, Hero Quest. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a simpler dungeon crawler, especially if you're just getting into board gaming and dungeon crawling, things like that. It's a great place to start. And there's a new version out, which is fantastic production quality. And it's still available. I was looking around right before the show, and it's still available. So you can go ahead and go out there and get you a copy of it, Hero Quest.
Dom.
Excellent. I don't know. Mario Day was just yesterday, whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to recommend Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because DLC was just announced, shown off. They've been pumping out a lot of stuff, and who doesn't love Mario Kart? It's a blast.
Because it couldn't be Rabbids. You wouldn't know as far as the sequel goes, whether it's good or not. I'm going to recommend Blood Bowl 2. Yes, Blood Bowl 3 just came out. Yeah, I know. I've been playing it. I'm going to recommend Blood Bowl 2. I know. Blood Bowl 3 just came out. I'm going to recommend Blood Bowl 2. 2. It's not that 3 is a bad game.
That's everything I need to know.
The game itself still has like some new, it just launched, it's got some new launch performance issues, but let's set that aside. Playing a game of Blood Bowl and Blood Bowl 3 is fine. Performance issues aside. The monetization, not so good. Not so good. Not so good. So I'm going to recommend Blood Bowl 2. And you can get that really cheap on Steam. And if you wait for a Steam sale, you'll get it really, really cheap on Steam. Blood Bowl 2. That's going to do it for our show here today. No show next week. We'll see you the following week. Until then, Troy, where can everybody find you?
Hey, I'm on the socials at Noob Fridge.
Dom.
You can find me down below at Itzista.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there, Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO on Twitter, and you'll know every time we go live with a podcast, stream, or just hanging out. Until next time, stay safe. See you on the servers.